What is up, YouTube? It is your favorite heavy metal loving flesh and blood enthusiast, Sin, here with another Commoner deck tech, and I know I'm super stoked for this one because I finally get to go over my favorite hero in the entire game, Chain. I'm kidding, it's not Chain, it's Briar. We're going through a Briar Commoner deck tech today, guys. So, you know. If you know how good, yeah, you know how good Briar is in the Commoner format because Ball Lightning isn't banned in the Commoner format. Yeah, so we're doing this thing. Roll the B footage. Well, it's not even B footage, but roll the footage. So we're gonna start off right out the gate with Briar because if you know anything about Briar, you already know how this goes. Tell me if you've heard it before. Non-attack, attack action, swing with Rosetta. Maybe pump in a couple other zero cost red pitch cards that have go again in the middle of it. Let's start with the equipment. We're gonna start with the arms because I feel like this is a crucial piece right out the rip. I mean, we're gonna be running obviously Mark of Lightning because whenever a lightning or elemental attack you control is defended by a card from hand, you may destroy Mark of Lightning. If you do, the attack deals 1 damage to the defending hero, and that's kind of at the reaction step. So what ends up happening there is if your opponent's at one life and you go to swing in with a like lightning surge or an entwined lightning or even a Heaven's Claw, and they defend from hand, I mean, you're straight up just like cracking this and slinging that one over the top to kill your opponent off the table towards the end of the game. So this is a good game ender. So, you know, definitely Mark of Lightning. One thing I've been toying around with, and feel free to test this in your own time, is Bracers of Belief. I mean, I know this is a pretty common one. This was from Arcane Rising, and you know, action, you destroy Bracers of Belief, reveal the top card of your deck. If you do, the next attack action card you play this turn gains plus X, where X is 3 minus the pitch value. So, you know, off the rip of that, I mean, we're running a lot of red zero cost in this deck, so 9 times out of 10 you're going to be revealing a red off the top. If you reveal the red off the top, you know, your next attack that comes in is going to be doing +2. That could be some really tall damage to force some cards out of your opponent's hand. But you know, so I mean, I don't know, I feel like I like Mark of Lightning more because you kind of get to the point where, you know, like this could be your break point and this could win the game for you, and by just getting that one extra piece of damage in. Crown of Dichotomy is what we're running for the headpiece. You know, it's just a nice little kind of refresh shuffle. Ether Iron Weave, you know, once we play that non-attack and that attack, you know, we may want to maybe break the chain if we want to play like a Heaven's Claw or, you know, throw an Electrify onto the stack. This will give us the 2 resources we need, so we don't need to pitch any cards from hand. Maybe you want to use it to follow up off of a go again. With Rosetta Thorn to push the 2 and 2 damage. Obviously, we're running Rosetta Thorn. I don't have a token copy of Rosetta Thorn on like within my immediate vicinity, but that's what we're gonna run. If you play Flesh and Blood, you know what Rosetta Thorn is. I don't think I really need to explain it to you at this point. Snapdragon Scalers, obviously we're gonna be playing a lot of red go again, and we're gonna be playing a lot of zero cost reds that don't have go again, or maybe a few here and there. So we want to use Snapdragons to be able to you know, pop off on a turn. You know, in Commoner, having all that go again and being able to do these really wide attacks that threaten a lot of damage every single turn is crucial to maintaining that pace and that aggressive pace. This is an aggro deck all the way through. You know, you're not playing the same dominated attacks as say Chain would be playing, like Drowning Dire, but you are trying to go wide and push over extra damage off the top. If you had been part of the Tales of Aria Blitz meta, Briar used to be ridiculous with the ball lightnings and the embodiments of Earth and all that fun stuff, and apparently it was able to go up against Starvo in CC, but then they errated it, and you know what, it doesn't matter, James White, we still love you. Smooch, peace sign to that. Anyways, you know, things happen in game development, but so we're gonna go first off into the non-attacks. we're going to be running 2 Razor Reflexes. This is self-explanatory. This is essentially just going to be there to end the game, or if you need to give one of your 0 costs without go again, to then follow up with another attack afterwards. So, you know, obviously 3 red Razor Reflexes. We're running the 2 red Nimblisms, also self-explanatory. This is a, you know, good start to a turn. You know, you slam down a Nimblism, your next attack gets +3, go again, easy peasy. We're running 2 red Electrifies and 2 blue Electrifies. We are going to want to be playing this from Arsenal. So the red ones, you know, the next time an attack action card this hits a hero this turn, it deals an extra 3 damage to that hero, and if it's played from Arsenal, you draw a card, go again. So this is a good non-attack to start off with. The blues are good for resource pitching and also fusing your lightning abilities or your lightning attacks. So you definitely want to, you know, at most maybe pitch the blue Electrifies if you really need to, and try to play the red ones from Arsenal when able. It's a good fuse card to keep in hand, and it's also just a good card to play out if you need that first non-attack action to get Rosetta online. So we're gonna be running 2 red Electrifies, 2 blue Electrifies. Then for Bramble Spark, we are running the full suite of Bramble Spark. We're not going to be doing a lot of Earth Fusion. However, each one of these gives an extra piece of arcane damage to whatever attack we follow up with, even if it isn't fused. So essentially what we're doing here is we're just, you know, smacking this guy down, and whatever attack we attack with next, you know, gains, you know, when you attack with this attack, it deals 1 arcane damage to opposing hero. So all of these deal 1 arcane damage. It's just, you know, free damage, and, you know, more than likely in most situations, if your opponent's playing against Briar, they're going to be running at least one arcane barrier in commoner. It's just kind of the smart play on their side. So if, you know, you're following this up with attacks like Arcanic Shockwave or Arcanic Crackle, they're really only going to be able to block so much of that right out the rip. So those are our non-attack actions for this deck. You know, not a whole ton, but you'll see what we're doing after the attack. So Wounding Blow, we're running 2 red Wounding Blows. This would be great to, you know, play off of the Snapdragons. Like if you have this in hand, it's 4 damage. You know, you're going to be trying to pump this stuff by maybe giving it 1 arcane, and if you crack a Snapdragons off of it, gets go again. All of these 4 costs off of Nimblism will get pumped to 7, so that's 7 damage. It's kind of an awkward number to try and block out, especially in commoner where a lot of equipment doesn't have a high defensive value. You know, 1 or 2 of the pieces of that damage is going through, therefore triggering Briar's effect. You're not going to want to be blocking too much in this deck. You're just going to want to be applying pressure to your opponent right out the rip. You know, unless you need to be more meticulous if you end up going up against like a Kano or something like that. So we're running 2 red Wounding Blows to start. We're running the full suite of Ball Lightning because why wouldn't we? We're allowed to in this format. We absolutely can do that. And that is essentially whenever a lightning or elemental card would deal damage, this combat chain, instead it deals that much damage +1. So, you know, it's a 0 cost, go again, deals 3 for the red, 2 for the blue, and 2 for the yellow, 1 for the blue. So if we're running all 3 of these, you know, that damage adds up quickly if you're slamming down 3 Ball Lightnings in a row. You know, your opponent doesn't really want that to go off, but it snowballs real quick. It's also a good fuse card. That's why we're running so many of these, so we can almost always get the lightning fuse when we need it. So obviously we're running the full suite of Ball Lightnings. We're running two red Ravenous Rabbles. You know, same deal as the Braces of Belief. You know, there's a good chance we, right off the top, will get a red. So this comes in for 4, go again, 0 cost. You know, pretty standard for Briar. Heaven's Claw, costs 1, deals 5. This is a nice breakpoint card. You can also use it for lightning fusion. You know, you want to come in with the Heaven's Claw and then potentially Mark of Lightning to end a game. You know, that's essentially how that's going to roll out, because, you know, it's coming in for 5, and it also works off of nimblism, so it has the potential to come in for 8. And if it comes in for 8, you know, your opponent's going to try and defend that at the end of a game from hand. You Mark of Lightning over top of them and you win. It's essentially that easy. Heaven's Claw, Lightning Surge. We're going to want to be playing these from Arsenal to give them go again. You know, more fusion fodder for the Lightning side of the deck. This is pretty standard Briar. 2 red Lightning Surges. You know, 2 red Entwined Lightnings. You know, we want to be fusing Entwined Lightning so we can give it go again. You know, it's just 4 cost attack, 2 defensive. You know, 0. It's all 0 cost 4 attacks. 2 red Arcanic Shockwaves. We're going to want to be fusing these to push that extra arcane damage. You know, this would be good to follow up off of a Bramble Spark. So you're coming in for 2 arcane damage, 2 instances of 1 arcane damage each, plus the 4 physical. You know, and then you can Snapdragon Scalar off of it, or if you play like a Nimblism Bramble Spark, you know, this would then get go again. And then you could follow it up with, say, like an Entwined Lightning or a Rosetta Shot for 2 more arcane over top. You know, it's just really good to push damage with the arcane side of this deck, because we're kind of able to now. And why we would want to be pushing arcane damage in this deck will come into play a little bit later in the video here. We got 2 Arcanic Crackles. You know, whenever you attack with it, it deals 1 damage. Another great card to just follow up off of a Bramble Spark. You know, and if it hits with like an Electrify out, you're dealing that extra 3 damage. No, you wouldn't be with this. It's not an elemental or lightning, but point is, you're just going to be slinging arcane damage at your opponent. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that at this point. Scar for Scar, obviously, you know, if you're playing aggro, you're not blocking, you want to try to be at least 1 or 2 points below your opponent. Try to keep in that happy zone, because if Scar for Scar comes up, it's a free 0 cost 4 with go again. It's 3 off of, you know, it's 3 off of a Nimblism. And then it's also a 7 plus 1 arcane off of a Nimblism Bramble Spark if you do have higher life than your opponent, because then you can Embodiment of Lightning, give this go again, and, you know, keep popping. You know, so here are some of the cards that we're gonna want to probably end up using the Ether Ironweave for. So, you know, we'll say we go Nimblism, Bramble Spark, and then we crack the Ether Ironweave and we go Meet and Greet. You know, the arcane won't trigger Meet and Greet itself. However, you know, we're going to want to be able to create a rune chant off of the 2 red Meet and Greets if we need to come into that situation. It also blocks for 3, so if we desperately need to, we can block with it. It only costs 1 to play. You know, if you're a seasoned Runeblade player, you know Meet and Greet. It's pretty much a staple in most of the Runeblade builds. And then Consuming Volition. This is kind of just like a breakpoint sort of deal where, like, you know, if you're playing it off of a Nimblism, you know, it's coming in for 7, and say you've played an attack prior that came off of a Bramble Spark and that arcane damage did go through. When this hits, it's going to force your opponent to discard a card. So we're running 2 red Consuming Volitions. So essentially, this deck is just good at doing it all. It's got the go again. It's not resource heavy, and when you do need to pay for resources, 9 times out of 10 you do have those resources to pay. And, you know, we're running just the basic Runeblade equipment. We have kind of our game ending plan. Yeah, this is really it. You might want to, if you need to, you may want to run like a Null Rune Hood, or you know, maybe instead of the Mark of Lightning or the Snapdragons, run another piece of Runeblade if you run into like a wizard. But this deck can go wide. This deck can hit hard. I think in my calculations, on average, I was doing about 14 to 15 damage each turn. And that is what we want to be doing, because that pushes our opponent to need to block. And if they can't block all of this arcane we're throwing at them, then, you know, we're going to be able to close out games real quickly. Briar's my favorite character in the game. She's my favorite hero, obviously. Both of the playmats that I currently own that were Armory playmats are the Briar playmats. I play her in CC. I play her in pretty much everything. I love the Dryad aesthetic. She's a fantastic hero. And I also wanted to give a quick shout out off the end of my ranting here to Green Tree Sports Cards in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, you know, supporting our local Flesh and Blood community with commoner events. We should have some more commoner content coming to you this week, as well as into the future, you know. Briar, like I said, that's really all I have for you guys today. And you know, if you play this deck, you decide to go take it to a local event, please drop a comment below. Let me know how it plays for you. I'm probably going to be playing this deck in multiple events over the course of the next couple weeks, just to, you know, really put in some reps with it and see how it all pans out. I may make adjustments, but this is the first iteration of my Blitz commoner build for Briar, Warden of Thorns. Thank you all. Please subscribe if you like the video and you want to see more commoner deck techs. Let me know what hero you'd like me to see do a deck tech for next. And yeah, that's all I have, folks. Thanks, and have a great weekend.